Hi, this is WaffleKitty, and today, we are all Nagito stans. Yes, today I want to cover the best game you haven't played, Danganronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc. I can't express my love of Danganronpa enough, so on this installment of the best game you haven't played we'll discuss the history of the game, the gameplay, and why I love this game so much. This series is more opinion-based than my other ones, so if you want a more factual look on a subject, check out my Analysis for Idiots series. On a quick side note, I only plan on discussing Trigger Happy Havoc and Goodbye Despair, because I want to keep these videos short. Sorry, Kokichi. To understand how the game has become such a phenomenon, we first need to discuss Spike Games. Spike Games has a history of dozens of acquisitions, mergers, takeovers, and the most bloody complex collaborations ever to disgrace Wikipedia. I'd be here forever if I listed every game, so please stay with me as this generic template text screen flies across your screen faster than you can read it. Anyways, Spike was a bit of a black sheep in the game community. While never having any hits, it never exactly settled on any genre. Spike dabbled in every type of game, but rarely continued series or kept to any format. While there are positives to this type of company, there are setbacks as well. When you don't stick to a consistent type of game, the company doesn't get prestige or fame in a community, and they lose the chance of a consistent fan base, as they never improve or gain experience in a game type. Each game was quickly produced with poor graphics, and mass-produced online to general mediocrity. Therefore, Spike, currently known as Spike Chunsoft, didn't have too many fans. However, that all was about to change with their next game, a visual playthrough novel about students stuck in a mysterious school, solving murders. Yes, the mass hit, Distrust. Yes, you heard me right. The original Danganronpa was originally titled Distrust, and had a much darker tone. Very much darker. For some unknown reason, the original Danganronpa featured a bloody warehouse, gruesome inmates, and a man with half his face melted off. Yep. I'm not joking. Understandably, the developers quickly realized how rubbish of an idea this was. They quickly changed the game, giving it a much lighter tone, black humor and comedy, lovable characters, pop culture references, and a bright and fantastical high school as the setting. Before we go on, we should probably talk about the art style. I want to talk about why I love the art style later, but both Distrust and Trigger Happy Havoc use 2.5D graphics. 2.5D graphics, when referring to games, is an art style developed around the early 2000s. 2.5D graphics are two-dimensional graphics used against a three-dimensional background, often with the illusion of being 3D when they are, in fact, not. It creates a subtle contrast with the background, but still uses some 3D elements. In these games, the characters are created using 2.5D and set against 3D graphics. Per usual, this was the first time Spike used 2.5D, but as it is relatively simple, the graphics for the first were good. Unlike Distrust, the blood was bright pink, to fit with the new light-hearted theme. Both games were written under writer Kazutaka Kodaka, with the character design team under Ruka Matsukai. The first game was released solely under Spike, while Goodbye Despair released under the merged company Spike Chunsoft. The two games were originally intended to only be released on PS4. Trigger Happy Havoc was released November 25, 2010, and the sequel was released July 26, 2012. Because I'm only covering the first two, I should probably also mention that there are two animes, a spin-off action game, and a loosely related threequel currently out. But anyways, while I could go into more detail on the various re-releases and package sets, I'd much rather move on to the next segment. These next two segments might have very minor spoilers, so skip to, if you want to get to the conclusions. Now, believe it's time for our favorite segment, copy and paste Wikipedia. The series revolves around an elite high school, Hope's Peak Academy, which, every year, selects ultimate students, talented high school students who are in the top of their field, along with one ultimate lucky student who is chosen by lottery. In Danganronpa, trigger-happy Havoc, Makoto Nigi, an average student selected to join Hope's Peak Academy, arrives at the school only to lose consciousness and later find himself trapped inside the school, along with 14 other students. There, a sadistic remote-controlled bear by the name of Monokuma announces that the students will be forced to live in the school forever, offering only one way to graduate: murder another student and get away with it. When the crime scene is discovered, a class trial is held, in which the remaining students must discuss amongst themselves who the murderer is. If they can successfully figure out who murdered the victim, the culprit alone will be executed. However, if they guess incorrectly, the culprit will be able to leave the school and everyone else will be executed. The sequel, Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair, has a similar premise, this time taking place on a tropical island known as Havoc. Hajun Hinata, a student who has no memory of his ultimate talent, along with 15 other students, are taken there by a rabbit named Uzami, who states it to be a field trip to help the classmates make friends with each other. However, Monokuma interferes yet again, turning it into yet another killing game. The game has seen a resurgence in popularity, due to gamers like Mike and the success of V3. But what makes the game so special? I absolutely love this unique game, Danganronpa, and especially its even more amazing sequel. The game mixes humor, mystery solving, some of the best character development I've ever seen. While the first game can be a bit cheesy, and the mysteries can be easy, and the game is too guided, the second game improves that and more, with almost impossible mysteries, a certain character who is one of the best written in fiction, unseen plot twists, complex and layered characters you will most certainly cry for, and subtle clues you'll have to rewind to find. While the second is my personal favorite, and the first holds such a close place in my heart, the third is also bloody wonderful, twisting every expectation and trope against the player, with heartbreaking moments that shatter the fourth wall. Each mystery, excluding the first couple of Trigger Happy, will burst your brain, and the class trials are fantastic at tricking the player into emotionally caring about pieces of code. The format is reminiscent of the novel And Then There Were None, but from despair up the mysteries are so much harder to solve. The eventful tension brings out the worst, the dark sides even in the most popular characters, warping them until they eventually snap in the most devastating ways by the end of every class trial. The writing is so good at times it feels like more than a game. There are no boring characters both physically or in their personality, because every character is diverse and full-fledged enough to last to the end. Unlike other games with NPCs that only exist to die early, every character from the first death to the MC could die at any time because each character is so well developed. No one is safe. According to game developer Kodarka, he stated he desired to shake users' heart by showing a devastating accident in not devastating ways. But, by some measure, it might be more shocking than showing a devastating scene. The game has a miraculous ability to turn characters you loathe into favorites by last-minute reveals, much like another game I might talk about soon. The music is fantastic, in particular the theme from the first chapter of Goodbye Despair. Every scene brings tension, with music that conveys the story as much as what's going on screen. The premise of the game is so unique and stylish, and the art frequently switches styles and experiments, especially in V3. Hells, even the community has such a genuine love for the game and the characters. In conclusion, I cannot recommend all the games more, as long as you don't get attached to any character, and I mean any character. I have such a close place in my heart for Danganronpa that I'm about to cry, and I can't think of a better way to start off my best games you haven't played series. This game and its community was created with such passion and care that just writing this makes me want to replay it for the millionth time. If you liked this video, please subscribe as it really helps me make these videos, helps me feed my non-existent family the meat on the bone. Thanks. Next time on WaffleKitty.